Hi. Have you ever wondered why is it so hard to ask for what we want? What causes us to be resistant to just saying, "Could you please?" or "I wish I could have," or "Would you do this for me? Would you help me?" Why is it so hard for us to do this? Well, we're going to find out today. My guest is Laura Fredricks. She is the author of Hard Asks Made Easy. It's on the top of the Amazon bestseller list, because she's got tremendously great information in here in these pages. So please say hi to Laura Fredricks.
Oh, hello, everyone. Thank you. Diane, this is great. I've been so looking forward to this.
We just have to start right at the beginning.
Let's go.
Why is it hard for people to ask for what they want?
Because they never really know what they want, number one. And number two, they don't feel they deserve it.
Oh, two good points. Okay. So why do you think they don't know what they want?
In their head, they think, and they think themselves out of it. Before they even ask, they're like, well, this person really can't do it. That's really too much. I should wait. They know what I want, so why should I have to ask?
Is there a tie somehow between not wanting to ask and, in your opinion, people who just take on too much and don't know how to say no?
Part of it is that.
Mm-hmm.
But usually people who take on too much blurt it out, and it's not really an ask. So part of this in the book, too, is, was your ask really an ask?
Oh.
Or was it just blurted out with the assumption people will know what to do? So people who really are overwhelmed, like you just described, they really will just blurt things out and sit back and expect it to come. And then all the disappointment comes floating in because you didn't give people the parameters of what you want, when you want it, how you want it done, and why it's important to you. The biggest piece of the ask is no one ever expresses why it's important. And I always say to people, it can be difficult. And believe me, I know. I've been doing this for 3 decades. I know why it's difficult because you feel like you're putting yourself out there. It's almost like being on the 10-meter diving board, looking down, and it's a concrete pool with no water, right? That's what goes through you. But when you sit there and say, no, I really deserve this. This is exactly what I want. You're the person to do it. And this is why I want you to help me. It's all fine. But no one goes through those little bit of steps. And that's what the book's all about.
So how does someone define that?
All right. So I have, as you have read, and I put, as a lawyer,
you really,
thank you.
Yes,
I
let's
am
talk
a lawyer.
About your background and then let's
lawyer.
look at how this gets defined.
So just very simply, journalism and law equal organization, structure, and focus. And it's what I apply my whole life. So in journalism, I started, when I was in college, asking good questions because you get the story. Like you do with your podcast, you ask good questions, you get the story, right? So that led into law. And I worked for the Attorney General's office in Pennsylvania doing civil litigation, having 462 cases. Because anytime someone sued the state office, state officer, 6 of us across the state would represent.
Oh my gosh, what a caseload.
It was huge, but what an experience. But I learned how to win cases, and it was on cross-examination. And why? Because you ask the right question at the right time. So then I got into fundraising. And that's really when this whole thing opened up because I realized no one was asking for money. They were taking you out, playing golf, going to outings, nice conversation, having lunch, and gone. And I'm like, well, did you say we need the money to do this? No, they'll just do the right thing. Boom, came the books. And I was like, no, we're going to place organization, structure, focus on an area that has always been left to luck, chance, and time. And that's how we did this.
Organization,
structure,
and
focus.
Let's break those down.
So, organization. You have to organize to optimize your chance to get to yes. That means organize your thoughts. For you, Diane, what is it you want? You wanted me to come on your podcast to discuss this so that it will increase your viewership and help me.
Yep.
Just lay it all out.
Yep.
Okay, that's the organization. Structure, how are we going to do this? You invite me, we come here, you laid the parameters out before we began, all the structure. You could have just said, let's sit down and have a nice conversation with Laura, which is what most people do. Focus, the most important thing. Where focus goes, success grows. How many people do you know will talk to you on their phone, reading a book, looking over, on. You have lost them and you will never get to yes if you're not laser focused.
You know, it's the number one thing I love about this podcast because I get to sit and talk to someone with zero interruptions. I know they're not looking at their screen like they might be on a phone.
Right.
Or, they're not checking their text, or even at a dinner when someone in the middle of the conversation says, well, let me just check that on my phone. I'm like, no. We are having a conversation right now. You can fact check. You can do whatever you want. You can verify your story later. This is our time.
And you have lost it. You've just lost it.
Exactly.
Focus. And it's easy to lose focus. I mean, in one way, the pandemic, we never want to talk about that, but Zoom kind of helped us because you have this little window to look at, okay? But the people who had animals in the background or had their heads look like aliens or let their phone go off, they lost it.
Or presented in their pajamas.
Right. But made it a little bit easier, and it's still going on. So I say to people, number one, stand up. Have a mirror behind you, which Zoom did, because now we can see what we look like. And you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, So it did help us, but carry that through because it's a window and a mirror into how you look, sound, and are you really, really concentrating on the person in front of you?
That's really good advice. Whenever somebody says, I need to get a new headshot, or when, we're working with someone and it's like, wait a second. You're getting booked in the Wall Street Journal and you seriously sent a passport picture to us? You need a picture. Right. Stand in front of a mirror, get comfortable.
Exactly.
Because again, it's a form of focus to get used to looking at yourself.
Exactly right.
So let's break it down more, because you talked about deserving.
Yeah.
Whether somebody feels they deserve.
Right.
How does someone overcome that, in your opinion?
I become their therapist.
I'm sure you do. Having been a therapist and counselor for
there you go.
30-something years.
You do. Well,
you really do.
You do. Because you listen and just ask good questions like, what do you feel is getting in the way? What's really at the bottom of this that you can't step forward and do this? And, no judgment. Just whatever it is, I'm here to listen. And I'll probably agree with you and maybe show you how we can take that step further. And I learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes, figuring this out and on, having everyone know you got to go from 1 to 100. And I realized not everyone can do this, which is why I wrote it. Let's start easy. This is why the first chapter, I've never written about myself. The first chapter is pretty deep and is about me. And so I felt like if I can show you, you've always asked as a child, I'm bringing it out, I'm not putting something in, then we're on the same playing field. We're all there. We all have these fears. We all have these hesitations. We all feel like we're going to be judged when we ask for something that looks like we can't do it. And the hardest ask you'll ever make in life is for help. That is the most request I get all the time. And I said, yes, it's hard because you're judged. I should be doing this. I can multitask. I should know this. I don't have to ask. But you know what? When you're asked for help, just how good do you feel when you've given help?
Yes.
And I say to people, you're actually giving them a gift when you ask for help because you make their day. You and I were just talking about this when I go out and I'm coming to see you at Penn Station and I see 1 million people on their phones. I know they're tourists. God bless you. Thank you to come to New York City. And I'm standing as far away from here. And what am I, all 5'2"? I'm so intimidating. I say, may I help you? No, I'm okay. I said, well, it appears you need a street. I can guide you and get you there quicker, right? And they're like, oh, well, and I feel wonderful.
Yeah.
So I share that with them saying, when you ask someone for help, you're really making their day. And you're speeding up the time and you're getting where you need to go. So it's a win-win. You're not taking something away. It's a win-win.
Well, it's funny. You reminded me of a very funny moment because I think people not only have a hard time asking for help, people have a hard time accepting help. It's a two-way street. And what makes me think that is, it was a rainy day and I had to drop something off to someone who was about to take the New Jersey Transit from Penn Station.
Right.
And as I'm walking there, it was a hot summer, August last year, and it started to rain. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am now drenched. I had not bought my umbrella, but I'm trying to protect what I have to pass this person. And I'm standing and I see all these people rushing to try to get into the train, make it on time. Of course, they've been delayed because of the rain. And so I start opening the door for people. But here, my mascara's running down my face, my hair. I look like a washed rat on the street. There were the people that said hello. There were the people that smiled. There were the people that looked at me and went to another door.
She's gonna ask us
Even
for
though I
money.
didn't open
She's
it,
gonna
like,
ask us
yes,
for money.
is she going to ask for money?
There you go.
So it's why I share that story is I wrote a great blog about the next day, but it really made me think about people don't just have a hard time asking, they have a hard time accepting.
It's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Why? What is your assessment on that?
Deserving again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you deserve to help someone? Do you deserve when it comes back? It's all like your self-worth. It all comes down to your self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to start there and say, let's start easy. Let's start a couple things that you can give someone and a couple things that you want to ask someone. Because if you don't, you're not living your best life. And we may only have one shot at this and we don't know, but why would you go around? And the worst thing, Diane, is that people build up resentments.
Yes.
And it festers, and then it takes a toll on your body and your face, and you start aging, and then you take it out on other people. So this is just not a small little thing that goes away. It mushrooms. And that's why my task in life is to say, let's get to it. Let's do it the right way so you feel comfortable, the other person feels comfortable, and you both go on happy.
You raised such an excellent point, which is, oh geez, I'm having a brain glitch. But you raised so many good points there. No, but what it was in the ask, when someone is totally uncomfortable with asking and that resentment builds up and they just won't go there. They're almost in their mind saying, they're going to say no anyway, so why should I even bother? And
yes, you've talked yourself out of it.
You've taught so many people talk themselves out of something before even just risking it.
So let's talk about something that has helped people, and it's gonna really be mind blowing right here. I always like to write a book every 3 years. The pandemic came, and of course everybody is whatever, and I'm like, I can't do anything. People called me. You're gonna love this. You're the ask expert. I mean, really got snarky, right? It's
yeah.
okay. How do I ask my husband to leave? How do I tell my kids time to get out of the house? How did I tell my boss to go? And it was coming, Diane. It was like this, and it dawned on me. And this is one of the things I feel like I enjoy doing the most is listening and moving forward. And so I listened to all that and I said, what people are telling me is they know exactly what they want and what they don't want. And this is the moment I wanted, okay? Because they did. The pandemic made it really clear about what you wanted and what you didn't want, which was excellent. Not that should have caused it to be at that point, but it did. And that's how this book came out. I knew the title right away, and I said, I got to get going on this. And that's why it has every category, even spirituality and marriage and kids and infidelity. I mean, it's got it all in there because people had the moment. You know, I always say external forces govern internal decisions. The external forces was everything going on with the pandemic and everything that was removed from our lives, but it became crystal clear about what you wanted and what you did not. And I said, we're going to get this book out there because they're ready for it. And I think the timing of the book and the people's sensibility. So now it's pretty easier in my conversations and my speaking engagement. I know what I want. Now, how do I get it? Which is far different than should I ask for this and how do I do it? Very different.
You've got a good point. I know what I want and how do I get it? One of the things that I know a lot of people are one of the reasons where they're reluctant to ask. They think that person has everything, or how can I possibly help them? And I always think that's a very limited way of thinking. And because I know people who have more money than God, and nobody brings them a present to their home. No one
Makes a phone call. Hi,
no
how
one
are you?
makes a phone call. It's like all assume that just because that person has achieved a level of success or
They're untouchable.
well, they're untouchable. I'll never forget at one point, a friend of mine had given me Reuben Mark's phone number, who was for 27 years, chairman and CEO of Colgate-Palmolive.
Mm.
And they had called me to make an appointment with him. And he answered his own phone.
It's always
I'm
a
like,
shocker, isn't it?
oh my
You weren't
gosh.
prepared for that.
I was not.
There's the gatekeeper. You're supposed to be the gatekeeper.
And he said, and I was like speechless at that point.
Right.
And he knew why I was calling. And he's like, well, why were you surprised I answered your own? He goes, if you're doing things right, you have a lot of free time on your hands. And it's kind of nice to talk to people because no one calls me anymore.
Right. Right. Isn't that amazing? Just amazing. To piggyback on that conversation, I've had the opportunity to work with some wonderful groups, which is great. And the thing I love best is they come and say, I want to talk to so-and-so. I say, tell me everything you know about them. Everything. Every email, everything, every color shirt they wear. Tell me everything. I'll be able to craft the conversation you'll have. And that's all I do. And they walk away with gazillions of dollars because you have now shown that you've done enough to know about them, what they like and what they don't like. Half of the times when we're raising money, people are like, let's have a couple meetings. No. What did he just say? Don't waste my time. What does don't waste my time mean? You'll have one shot.
Yeah.
There'll be one meeting, and we're going to craft this specifically and say, I've heard what you said. I'm respectful of your time. This might seem, out of the blue or abrupt, but I'm respectful for what you asked. And this is what we need. Can you help us? You're the one to do it.
Yeah.
Boom. That's all it is. But when you pull out the conversations that they've shared with you, you're right in sync and you never left off. And that's how people can do the intro to a lot of their asks. I've heard you say, I've listened to you, I've seen you do this, I feel you're the right one, can you help me? Simple. And let's talk about how the ask breaks down.
Yes.
You over-ask the ask. Now, I did the very simple
hold on.
over-ask the ask, which is why my ask formula is 2 sentences and a question. It's like, Diane, thank you so much. It's been great to be a guest on this podcast. Sentence number 1. Sentence number 2, what do I want from you, is in sentence number 2. And this is for the people that don't have confidence.
Yes.
I have no idea if you can do this, but what I do know is you're the person to make this phone call to this person so I can get the speaking engagement. It's all loaded in there.
Yep.
Nice and simple. Do you think you can do this? Now, why? Your turn to speak. In that one sentence, you know exactly what I want. Make an introduction to get Laura speaking engagement. Nice and simple.
Yep.
Your turn to talk, and I sit back.
Simple and direct.
That's it. And then we begin.
Yeah.
Why I did that is because most people, and this is one thing I have got to share on your podcast.
Yes, please.
What is the most common response you'll get to the ask? Quote, I have to think about it. Now, when people hear that, they tank.
Yeah.
They've heard no. What are the absolute words? I have to think about it. Okay? And I've made this mistake a gazillion times. I'll tell you why. I was asking an individual for a lot of money. A lot of money. He turned to me and said, okay, Laura, I have to think about it. I jumped in and said, I know it's a large amount. And he cut me off like this and said, I never said that. What did I do? I assumed it was the amount.
Yes.
So what it was how he was going to do it and when he could do it.
Exactly.
Boy, did I learn. So then I said, what is missing here? What can I do? It's the it. I have to think about it. So focus. How do you get to the it that's in your head? We ask. I
Yes.
said to him, use his first name, get his attention.
Yeah.
Thank you for considering it. It would be so helpful to me if I could understand what you're thinking about. I'm here to help you. Can you share that? He said, of course. He said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. This way, investments, whatever. And if I can do it in December or by the end of March. And I learned, when you have to think about it, no assumptions. Get to it.
Right.
Can you share with me? Do you feel comfortable? I'm here to help you. I always say the ask is like a group hug. Bring them back in.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. What is it? Let's work it out. And stop talking. Because your mind goes off into time, amount. It should have been somebody else. They're coming off summer vacation. They've said nothing. And you're filling it in.
Filling it in.
So that's what I mean by over asking the ask. Let's refine it with 2 sentences and a question.
That is such an excellent point, and really great how you broke that down. And it's funny, you reminded me of years ago when I moved to the city. I was 24, and I was selling cars. At the same time, I was trying to break in. I had an entertainment company and I was booking comedians on the road. But until I would get paid, I had to make money, and make it all work.
The
Make
hustle.
sure my rent was. Oh, yeah, I hustled. I did pretty much every job on the planet. But when I would first sell cars, I got up. I didn't care what anybody looked like. I feared everybody. If they walked in, they used to joke and say, Diane's desk is like the United Nations, because I just met with everybody. But I was blowing the close because I couldn't ask. And I used to take my pen and drop it on the ground. And when my head was down, I would say, so would you like to buy the car? And then I would come back up. And half the time they would say, what did you say?
And you're like, no, I got it out. All good.
I'm like, how many more times do I have to drop my pencil before it looks
Tell
obvious?
me why. You were younger, obviously, but what was coming up for you? Why did you not look them in the eye?
I'm going to tell you why. For me at the time, because I thought about it so many times, it was my lack of understanding of money and the free flow of money. And what I tell our kids, what I tell kids I mentor, what I tell interns, what I tell employees, what I tell everybody is there's no limit on the amount of money you can get. There's no limit on the money someone else can get. And when you see money as a finite thing, you start to put caps on, in my opinion, your ask. And when I was 24 years old, I didn't have the $20,000 in the bank at that moment to ask for someone for it. So it was beyond my realm of comprehension. But once I started to say, you know what? If I get more money, it doesn't mean you get less. And people don't understand that. They get jealous. Frankly, I see Elon Musk. I'm like, you go, rock star. You just inspired me to try to work harder. And I don't care who he has children with. I don't care what he's doing with his free time. I don't care if he does drugs. I don't care. I'm looking at a modern day Da Vinci saying, this guy is inspiring me. He's inspiring me to be my best. And I look at everyone that way. I look at you that way. Every author I interview. And by the way, I am talking with Laura Fredricks, and we are talking about hard asks made easy because this is such an important topic.
It is. Thank you for sharing that story. In addition to that, most people went to us with money, and that's how this all began, the ask for money, is that they put themselves in the shoes of the other person and say, I don't have $20,000. They couldn't possibly have $20,000, and there it goes. It gets deep sexed. That's number one. Number two is, it's so funny. I used to walk into these seminars and people are like, oh, Laura's coming. Hold on to your wallets. As if I'm there taking all their money. It was hysterical, right? And I'd be like, no. I'm giving you the gift of opportunity. So when you ask for money, you're giving, you're not taking. They can say yes, they can say no. You're giving an opportunity, okay? You're not asking someone, deplete your bank account, give it to me, and live poor the rest of your life. But all these things in these images are going off on people's head. They could simply say no.
Yep.
We're not at this time or whatever. And the thing is, if you don't know the person has the money, but you do feel like they do, simply say, I have no idea. But what I do know is if you do this, it will open doors. Tell them what it's going to do. Because at that moment in time, in any moment of time, do you really know Elon Musk has that amount of money? It goes up and it goes down. Shareholders go here, it goes that. Investment, you don't know. So just say, I have no idea, but what I do know. That's my gazillion-dollar ask I did before. And he, like I said, why'd you pick me? I said, because everyone looks up to you. And if you do it, I've got 10 more people who will do it too, but they want you to be first. And I need you to be first. He's like, okay, fine. I'm like, I'm sweating to death. And it's like, okay, fine, But that taught me, why me? Big part of asking is, why me? Because people feel like, oh, you do this and I'll just go to Penn Station and there's 5 more people holding up a door. not looking rain-soaked or whatever, and I will ask them, right? But that's what they feel like. It's not important. Yes, it is. It's you. I want you to do this. The hard part about this is personal relationships. So, in addition, while I was writing the book, people were calling me saying, I've lived with this person a long time and they do nothing around the house. And I'm like, well, did you ask them? Don't ask them to do more. What does that mean? Don't ask them to spend more time. What does that mean? And that's how I got into the 5 laws of asking. Number 1, know exactly what you want with numbers and dates. I need you to do the laundry every Wednesday. Is that okay with you? Right? That's a lot better than, come on, let's get the laundry done. I mean, where does that go? It goes nowhere. But personal relationships are very tough when you have to ask.
You know, you raise such an interesting point. Because like you, I talk with a lot of CEOs, executives that are, struggling with either a negotiation or a presentation they're going to make to their board. And they're just looking for a thought partner or a sounding board. That's where, I'll work on the perceptions that, where are they coming from? Who are the different stakeholders or shareholders? And I'll break it down that way. And what might each of them think about this ultimate decision or outcome? But one of the things that always amazes me is that resistance to ask and the number of people that end up getting divorced because they think they're great negotiators. I'm like, no. Part of because you tied relationships and business together in your book.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a very interesting tie between relationships and, the end of relationships. And we've all had those. I've had those, we've had relationships work. We've had them not work. It happens. But that learning to ask is so essential to navigating a relationship. And you can think you're the greatest negotiator in the boardroom, but if you can't manage to negotiate at home, then it's not working.
Exactly. Which is why I try to make this easy. It's one ask for everything.
Yeah.
It's not
one
like
ask for
one
everything.
ask for
Define
everything.
that.
It used to be, I'm asking for money. I need to look and sound and ask this way. I'm in the boardroom and I need my shareholders to agree with me and pass this strategic plan. That's another way. I go home and my kids and the house is a mess. I'll do, and you turn 3, 4, 5 different personalities. I say there's only one way to do this. 2 sentences and a question, but be very specific. Know exactly what you want, numbers and dates. Prepare. Preparation is huge. And people don't do this, but I've showed them. Write, as an author, I love this, the old-fashioned way, write 15 things you think those shareholders are going to say. Write it down, not here, write it, and then go back. What will you say to each? Because more people say yes to the ask because you looked and sounded confident. Period.
Yeah.
This gets you there because number 3 is show up, be confident. It's time to shine. And people leave that piece out. They've got all the facts, all the figures, all the stuff. They sound so neutral, on and on. I know what you're going to say. I can answer you, and then they don't show up. And they don't ask it eye to eye. This is important to me. I chose you. This is really what I want. Let's make it happen. Okay? The rest is work out whatever it is, and then plan your next move right here. And I learned that the hard way. Like, Diane, this is great. You're going to think about it. I'll get back to you in a week. It turns out to be 3 months for me to get you, and now we have to restart the ask all over again.
I'm perceiving another interesting point here because you kind of addressed ego on both parties.
Woof.
There's the ego of the asker and the asked.
Right.
For lack of better words for this.
Yep.
But, the ego of the asker is feeling insecure for whatever reason possibly, which is preventing them from asking.
Right.
Yet, if they presented with you're the one, the ego of the asked instantly feels good. Wow, this person came to me. So it's a total switch.
It is. You've done your homework. You've singled me. What person doesn't want to be singled out? Listen, even if you can't do it, that is the most important piece because they feel like you're going to turn around and ask 5 people over here, and this never mattered. And you wasted my time. Oh, that's the worst reaction is like, you're totally wasting your time. If you get that, say, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm here to learn. Why am I? And don't assume. Assumptions kill an ask.
Yeah.
Well, because I told you and you didn't listen. Fair enough. I say, own it. That's on me. Won't happen again. Let's take a breather. May I start over?
Exactly.
You can always salvage something that feels like a lead door on you that said no. You can always salvage it.
You reminded me of another thing.
Tell me.
One of my favorite books was Richard Branson's Losing My Virginity. And in it, he talked about he was trying to get John Lennon to be, he's like 20 years old,
Right.
maybe even a little younger, and he had a magazine, and he's trying to get it off the ground. He's got this record store, but he wants this magazine to get off the ground, and he
Right.
knows to get it off the ground, to keep anyone investing in it, to keep his advertisers. He's promised them all John Lennon, and John Lennon's ignoring him, and he's like, no, the Beatles have just broken up. He's with Yoko Ono, nothing's
Leave me
happening.
alone.
So finally, he kind of, that Shawshank Redemption thing bothered John Lennon so many times that John Lennon finally said, okay, I'm going to be near your record store on this date. I'll stop in for 3 minutes, and that's it. I'm going to listen, and I'm leaving. So right before he walks in, Richard Branson said to the girl who was at the front counter doing the checkout in this little tiny store behind the curtain where they're going to go meet, says, listen, exactly 60 seconds into the me walking in with John Lennon, you walk in and you say, hey, Richard, no excited voice, just, hey, Richard, mix on the phone.
Smart.
Exactly. As you said, everyone wants to be the first one who was asked. Ultimately, he tells the story. The story proceeds that John Lennon said, wait a second, was that Mick Jagger? Mm-hmm. And Richard Branson just nodded, didn't say yes, didn't want to be caught in the lie, just nodded and smiled. And John Lennon said, yes, I'll do the cover. Never materialized because Yoko Ono had a miscarriage at the time. But it's a great story of, fits with the fake it till you make it, which might have been the chapter that was in.
But still in all, you wanted to be the first. No, I don't want to go after Mick. I want to be the first.
Exactly.
I'm John Lennon, right?
Right.
But everyone has that in them.
Everyone. I admit it. When somebody makes me first, I feel like a rock star.
That's right.
Something I'll never be, we established. I would need earphones if I was in the Hammerstein or the Grand.
Absolutely. This comes a lot when people want people to be on their boards.
Yes.
Because if you have a good board, you're going to go, business-wise, nonprofits. And I'm like, what? It's the same ask.
Yes.
Tell them you have this. No one says you have the skill sets that we need. We're lacking it. This would be amazing if you come on the board. We're like, well, we have this board and there's 23 people. I said, no. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to be one of the people sitting at a desk and they're going to say no. No, I don't have the time. I said, I will guarantee you do that kind of ask. You will hear this back. No, I don't have the time. And what are they saying to you? It's not important if I sit there.
Yeah.
What can I offer you? You've already got these brain trusts left and right, but asking for good board members, which is why I do a board training a month, a month, because and I'm liking it, because you need to elevate each of these people and have them showcased and cultivate them, because that's the only way they're going to give their skill set to you and their money. Period. But you got to work it. You really have to work it. You have to treasure each person individually. You can't just say the board. You have to do individually. And everyone likes to have a little halo around them.
Yes.
Right? You're special. You're important. Your contribution matters.
That's an excellent point. And so a big part of the ask, as you're pointing out, is that willingness to do your research about someone.
Yes.
Which is so easy today with the internet,
you
and
can
most
just
people
Google
just
someone.
won't do.
No, just get the latest article on them, or what did they do? And the whole thing that can tie life together is interests and hobbies. What are they interested in and what aren't they? And usually has something to do with sports or something. And this isn't a male-female thing, okay? Because come on, look at the WNBA, all right?
Yeah.
The LPGA. So just get their interest. Or are they in book clubs? Do they like to walk? Are they on a board? I mean, if you get their interest, that says you know me. You've done a little bit of work, you know me. Now what do you want?
And not only that, from finding out someone's interests, you can figure out how to do a give.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a big believer in the give and the ask. Yep. What do you think about that?
What do you mean the give and the ask? Tell me.
Well, I think there's a lot of ways you can find it for someone who is struggling with an ask.
Okay.
They can figure out how to give someone something.
Okay.
The other night, someone I noticed on my LinkedIn, someone I would love to meet,
okay,
stopped by my page. And I was like, wow, how do I give to get that meeting I want with this person?
Okay.
So I said, I have your book. I'm beyond impressed with your career.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to interview you on my podcast, and then I'd love to explore some possibilities about working together.
Nice.
So it was giving
Right.
and asking.
Right.
But it probably, as you would say, it was acknowledging, giving,
Yes.
and asking.
Yes. That works. For some people that works. But what I want to say, Big Brother, you don't always have to give something when you ask something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It does when in personal and business relationships, it helps.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because who is going to turn around and acknowledge us unless they really know, oh, I might get something out of it, which is true. Like that's where the word networking, we need another word for that, but that's fine.
Yes.
No, we really do. But, what I want to emphasize is you don't always have to give something if you feel you deserve this person can give it to you, or can give it to your cause, or can give it to whatever you're asking. That has to come first. And then if you can see what I call like a partnership, and what you do is a partnership.
Yes.
I feel this might be beneficial for you, and I feel this might be beneficial for me, and let them weed you in or out. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Now, another thing that I'm sure you see it as a professional who is an expert at going for the ask. I have no doubt during COVID or other times, friends, people you do business with say, Laura, I just have a quick question for you.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. I just got this yesterday.
Okay.
So how do you
deal
say
with
the hard
all
no?
Those?
How do you
Exactly.
do the hard
because
no?
getting to hard no's is very important. And it is very difficult when you are a professional who's loaded with information. Everyone who knows you knows you're loaded with information. So they think, oh, it's just...
And your time and this, and then they don't pay you for it.
Yes.
And no, I guess. So
hard
it's
no.
the hard no. It's funny, when I was on the book tour, there was a gentleman, and I know him, he was sitting in the front row, and the kind that sit like this, and I'm like, well, he's not having this, I'm not sure. And he says, all right, I'm listening to everything you say, it's all good, but I've got kids, and they don't listen to no, and I say no, so what are you going to do about it? And I'm like, I'm going to write about this is what I better do about it, right? But you have to say no and mean no, and when I say that, for most parents out there, you have to look like no. You say no, you don't look like no. Like you were doing with the car, this is going to be a no, right? So you mean, when I say no, I mean no, and this is it, and walk away, but have consequences to it. I see a lot of times people don't follow up with the consequence. No means no, you're not getting this out of me. I had this yesterday, someone keep calling, but I only, no. But I only means you want something, and if you do, here it is. I get a monthly retainer. We'll do a contract. It's a minimum of a year. Are you willing to go forward this? Not at this time. Fine. Call me when you are.
Yep.
But you really, that's preparation. You've got to be, you just keep saying, no, I know it is. We'll give you this, because there are a lot of people out there that their heart's in the right place and you feel sympathetic. And so I do it once or twice because I feel like giving back is very important. I do a lot of times clients pro bono because it's worth it, but then I have to cut it off.
Yep.
Because I say to them, you walk into your office and you get paid, right? You're calling me, but I'm not getting paid. So there's a difference, and we have to stop here. That's what I say.
And that is always that tricky fine line.
It is. You don't want to hurt someone. You don't want to insult someone, but they are taking up your time.
Yes.
But the thing that crosses it for me, Diane, is when they don't listen.
Oh.
I have said this so many times, you're not listening. And I told them, I'm sorry, this conversation ends now, and this is a no. And they're like, yeah, but I only, well, you said, no. It's just like you had to put a box around it. So I understand it, the hard no, which is interesting because I'm working on my next book.
The hard no?
Close. Hard answers made easy. What to do and say when you've been asked. I had so many CEOs come up to me, and I love them all, and they're just like, look, I get asked a lot, and I'm appreciative that they ask me, but I just don't know how to respond in that gracious way, means I acknowledge you, but I can't.
Right.
So I'm like, whoa, when there's a problem, Laura's going to solve it and write a book.
Yeah.
So that's the next one. And it is more difficult than you think. This is hard, but answering someone and not burning that relationship or not looking. And again, Diane, this is how you look when you say it.
Mm-hmm.
People ignore that piece.
Yes.
And I know there's so much written about body language and I love it, but did you deliver the hard no?
Yeah.
Or was it no? Yeah. And there you are. There's your eyes. There's
And then
your
you
thoughts.
just keep it going. You leave the door open instead
Exactly.
of shutting it.
And then your tone is your superpower.
Mm-hmm.
How you deliver that no is 99% of it being heard.
Yeah.
It's your tone.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to watch your tone.
I saw this hilarious meme.
Share.
Yeah, from David Coverdale. I'm giving you a shout out, David, from Whitesnake.
Yes.
And he really has a hilarious X feed. Hilarious. And one was a picture of a woman and a man in a car, and there's a bubble over the woman's head.
Right.
And she said, she's looking up and it says, the moment I realized he was right 99% of the time, I just didn't like his tone of voice.
There you go. There you go. It's the tone. I mean, it just sends people. I tell people, take your phone out and record it. I did, and it was awful. I think I said absolutely 17 times in 2 sentences. I'm like, this has got to end. So just watch your tone.
Yeah. And it was funny, too, on tone of voice. I interviewed through this podcast, and thanks to Peter Ross, created the introduction, Lon Ballinger, who, along with his brothers, created Webster Hall, which was the biggest nightclub for 30 years in New York. Yeah,
Sure
I mean,
was.
where we all wanted to go. And Lon, when I said to him, like, you dealt with everything. The Aryans, the Hells Angels, the this group, the Dragons. I mean, you name it, he had to deal with it at some point or another. And he said, well, I found it really got down to tone of voice.
Serious for each constituency needs a different tone of voice. Absolutely.
And it wasn't so much what we said, because we had
how
to
you
say the
said it.
same message, you have to leave. But how we said it, how we approached it with our tone of voice. He goes, and every time I had a trouble with one of my employees and they had, something escalated, I'd say, well, how did you say that?
Right. Yeah. And how did you look? I've been watching a lot of parents
Right.
lately, and I just like they're good kind
Watching
of
a lot of
disciplining their
what?
kids, watching parents
Yes.
lately. But when they say it and walk away, or say it and fold clothes, or say it whatever, and it's lost. I mean, you just have to stand there and say no.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be consequences if you don't do this.
Exactly.
Period. Or stop doing this.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, good.
When our kids were little, I remember our son was in a stroller, and our daughter was probably 4 or something, and
Right.
she remembers this to this day.
Wow.
I had gotten these like vitamin lollipops, thinking maybe they'll be healthy. I'll let them have a vitamin
Way before your
lollipop.
time then.
Yeah, and she wanted like another one. And I'm like, no, you had the one. And she kept nagging. And I'm like, if your brother wakes up, this whole bag of lollipops is going in that garbage can. Next thing, whether it was timing or not, but she didn't stop. I took that bag of lollipops and dropped it in the garbage can because her brother woke up screaming because his nap wasn't long enough. Whatever. It was just a moment for a mom lesson, whether it was appropriate or not.
Serious, but you learn.
But, oh my gosh, I'd say for the next several years,
it was one
like,
alone.
you better listen to mom when she says no. I remember the lollipops. I
That's
remember what she did with the
amazing.
lollipops.
See? And
It was
kids are very,
hilarious.
very perceptive. Very perceptive.
Yeah. And they sure are.
Yeah.
And the saying no and the ability to say no definitively
Yeah.
and walk away.
Yeah. So let's talk about when you get the no, what do you do with it?
What
Right?
do you do with it, Laura?
So-
We're going to ask you that question.
Yes. I've spent some time on this. No now is never no never. So
Yes.
you can't look like you've just been rejected, which is the first time. And it's hard. It takes practice. I get it. It's a learning experience. You've got to find out why they said no. Because again, assumptions come flooding in. So say, I appreciate it and I appreciate your time. It would really help me if I could understand why you're not able to do it. Here's the thing, at this time. Because they didn't say, no, never, slam the door, never want to see you, but that goes off in your head. Learn from it. What is it? It's like, well, I just got flooded with 5 other requests. I can't do this. Now we know, right?
Mhm.
Okay, it's September and I do all these decisions in March. Now we know it's the timing.
Yeah.
You can find out why and
Yes.
revisit it, but don't walk away and just say thank you and think about the next person you're going to ask.
Mhm.
So remember, get to the bottom of the why behind the no.
You know, that is such an excellent point. A good friend of
And
mine.
it hurts. It's hard.
Yes.
Because you've been rejected. Let's
Yes.
clear out. You didn't get what you wanted. And it feels like your daughter who didn't get the second lollipop.
Mhm.
Okay, and you look like your daughter who didn't get the second lollipop. And that's how you feel, but you tank and go away. But don't go away. Stand there and find out why.
A good friend of mine, Peter Cash, wrote a book years ago called Make Your Own Luck.
Oh,
And
I like the title.
yeah, he did extremely well. Met him many years ago. And one of his stories in his book, or story that he would tell when he would lecture, was, I love it when I hear someone say no. He goes, I know I'm with a decision maker. He goes, and I would say that to them.
Good.
He said, I would flip it around and say, no, you just said no. I love that you're a decision maker. Now I would like you to tell me what it would take
Perfect.
to get you to yes.
Perfect.
And this is a guy who closed
I'm sure.
probably upwards to $1 billion or more in biotech deals.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, Peter, that is such a good way to turn it around.
Absolutely.
You know, he didn't take it personally. I always say to him, I say, you wear the ultimate Teflon suit I've ever seen,
Right.
you know, or not seen, but you have it on somehow. You know, you managed to just,
What I love about that is the decision maker.
yes.
Because so many people hesitate asking because
And
they
they're
don't,
not decision makers.
because they feel like they can't get to the decision maker or they're
Right.
guessing who the decision maker is and then months go by. Okay. But I love that. It's like, wow, I got it right. Congratulations. Woohoo. Right? I got the right person. Now let's roll.
yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant.
So you're
Love
a
it.
decision
Love
maker.
it.
You know, what can you do to get me to, you know, what can I do to get you to yes? And that person then may say, well, I'm not the decision. You know,
Yes.
I'm not the person you should be asking.
need to
you
go
should
over
be
there,
asking
right.
Joe
Right.
or Sarah, or I can't do it now. Or I think your presentation was weak.
Yeah.
Or I'm not the guy. You know, whatever it is. But you start to get those answers so you can get to yes.
I tell people this all the time. I am addicted to Shark Tank. I keep watching every single series because I learned something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either they didn't prepare, they didn't know which shark they wanted,
Mm-hmm.
or it's do they need 2? Do they need 1? I mean, I'm just fascinated by this dynamic because in every episode you'll learn something. In fact, I even wrote to them saying, I want to help people do the pitch before they come to you, but I would love to do this. But it's just fascinating because you see different personalities,
Yeah.
different types, different tones, different unprepared, prepared. One woman got on and she said, like, you know, they said, well, what are your sales? And she said 5 million. And Richard Branson was on, and he thought it was great. But Mark Cuban thought, don't come here. We want entrepreneurs. And these two are going at it. And I'm like, you got to know the personality. Richard Branson would embrace if the person said 10 million investment and
Right.
I want your 2 million to let. And Mark Cuban's like, we only help like emerging entrepreneurs. And I sat there and I learned, know your audience.
Yeah.
Know your audience
That's an essential rule. Know your audience rule.
and their values.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
You might get one shot at this. So little
Yeah.
preparation will get you through.
and there are different audiences
Yes.
for every different kind
Right.
of things. It's like when I do, you know, crisis management for someone or a company usually, and I'll say, well, wait a second. Your partners are going to see this differently than your employees, than your neighbors in your own backyard if it impacted them,
Right.
or your board members,
Mhm.
or your shareholders.
Right.
You know, everyone has a different perspective on the exact same situation.
That's right.
You know, we see it all day long when, you know, a police officer has to get witnesses on a crime and one person says, they were definitely blonde. And someone else says, no, they were a
No.
brunette with dark skin.
I know,
No.
I know. It just, it's crazy. It's crazy. I just, just thinking about the different personalities that you'll be before. I get asked a lot, and you probably could guess this,
Mm-hmm.
how to ask for a raise, a promotion, or just something internally, right? It's the biggest one. I mean, you could write one whole book on it. But I want to get back to your comment on the decision maker. in asking for a raise, and I've managed a lot of people at Pace University, Temple University, I never had one person ask the right way for a raise. They'd come in and number one, ask for a percentage. And I said, do you honestly think I know the numerical amount that you make like that? So I don't know what that is. So what's the number? Okay, that's number one. Number two is no one ever asked me, am I the decision maker? Because it has to be me plus HR plus the board with the budget. So even going in saying, I want to ask for a raise, but before I do, how many people make this decision and who do I need to go in priority order?
That is
Bingo.
such a mega
Bingo.
huge lesson, because years ago when I worked in entertainment, back when I was 24 to 27 kind of years, and I was doing these corporate sponsorships, I wanted to get the Milk Association to sponsor a singer named
Nice.
Henry Lee Summer. I went around to 12 different regions for the Milk Association. Going through cash I didn't have at the time, trying to get to the yes. But I didn't know that the executive director had the authority to overrule.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about a lesson hard learned.
Oh, yeah.
Find out who
is
to
the
ask,
decision
who's
maker,
the decision
or
maker.
in priority order, because that 9 times out of 10, the boss is the last person to decide.
Yeah.
Did you go through HR? Is it in the
Yes.
budget cycle? Is the funds in the cycle? And
Yeah.
then you go here. So anyway, anyone who wants a raise or promotion, just follow those little tips.
Oh my gosh. As always, Laura Fredricks, these go too fast.
Are they we over already? Oh,
it's hard to
geez.
believe
Oh,
we
darn.
are done. I want to thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's really my pleasure. Thank you for spotlighting it. It's such an important aspect of everyone's life that the more we can get it out, the better we will feel. So if it helps just one person out there, I'm happy.
I want to thank Laura Fredricks, who was my guest. She is the author of Hard Asks Made Easy. Now, I'm going to tell you, I learned a lot during this podcast, and anyone will learn a lot from this book. I don't care if it's your 18-year-old thinking about what college or high school or 18 college to go to, or should they get involved in some other kind of career or job, or if it's an executive that is making a decision, if it's an individual that's looking at something personal that they need some help on. This book has tons of insight in it on making those hard asks easier. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. My pleasure.
This has been the Silver Disobedience Perception Dynamics podcast. I'm Diane Grissel. There are going to be all kinds of links below to Laura so you can get her book, follow what she's doing, check into her website and learn more, because I highly recommend you do, because I only have good guests on this podcast that are great experts at their chosen pathway. Thanks for joining me. We're in Manhattan Center. I have to give that the right mojo wave all the time. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you too.